Hello and welcome, Carlos Morales, Altera Home Loans.
Good morning. I'm Raoul Loustaunau with Realty One Group.
Raul, now that we have got an accepted contract, what is the next step? What do we have to do after that?
Okay, there's a few things here. An accepted contract. An accepted contract is when the seller has accepted your contract, but there's sometimes that they have accepted your contract, but they decided to do a minor counter to your offer. Okay, if you accept the counter, the home is yours. But remember, if you decide that you want to counter the counter, you open yourself to somebody else putting an offer higher than you have put, and then taking their offer. And clients will say, well, why? Because that's the way it is. If they counter, you're the only one they have countered to. But if you counter, you open yourself, you're saying, I don't like the terms of the contract, so that means we don't have a contract, and if somebody else decides to offer more than you or better terms than yours, they could take theirs. Now, let's say we have an accepted contract with the counter and everything. Now, the next step is to open escrow with a title company that we have chosen, and your escrow deposit usually is going to be either a minimum of $1,000 or 1% of the purchase price. If you were purchasing $300,000, that would be a $3,000 earner's deposit. Now, this money is going to be part of your down payment. So if you, example, you're buying a home for $100,000, the down payment is $3,500, and you put $1,000, you're still remaining $2,500 towards that down payment. Now, there's other costs involving this. There are the closing costs. Okay. But there's a few other things. We are going to ask for 30 to 45 days to close, usually 45 days. That's going to take all the stuff that we need to do, that Carlos has to do, to be able to do a loan. Now, after you do the escrow, you're going to have to do an inspection. I really recommend doing an inspection. The cost on that is going to be anywhere between $200 to $390, and that includes a termite inspection. What do you think about inspections, Carlos?
Raul, I also recommend that people get inspections. It doesn't necessarily have to be a professional inspection unless the property that we're buying is a flip. And by a flip, we mean when it has changed title. In other words, recently. In other words, the person that's selling the home just bought it, maybe fixed it up a little bit, and is reselling it for over 50%, or I'm sorry, over 20% of the value that he bought it for. That's a flip. When we have that type of situation, we do need a professional inspection. Another thing very important on that initial money to close or the escrow deposit, it has to come from a verifiable source. It has to come from one of the accounts that you have been presenting on your loan. It cannot be cash, and it cannot be somebody else putting the money for you. It's very important that you do that at the time of when we start this process.
Now, talking about the inspection, I myself do like you to use an inspector that's qualified. Why? Because you can go back to him if something is wrong. Now, after the inspection is done, like he says, the next thing is going to be an appraisal that you're going to have to be doing, and there's a cost to that, like he told you. But we have 45 days to close. That means after the 45 days, usually you're going to get the keys to your home. But there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to need you to do throughout the loan, and they need to be done on a timely basis. You cannot, if we ask you for something, you cannot take 3-4 days because we wasted 3-4 days of that 45 days. So if Carlos says, I need new pay stubs or bank statements, we need you to give it to us the next day. Remember, the loan is going to go as fast as you get us things to us, actually to him, because he's the one doing the loan.
Right, Raul, very important. Okay, we're under contract. We are in a time limit here. We need to have everything done as soon as possible. We need to have your inspection done as soon as possible, even though you have 10 days to do it. We have to order that appraisal as soon as possible because it's going to take 5 to 7 days to get that appraisal. And definitely we need to sit down and sign some disclosures, which is the initial paperwork, where you're giving me the go-ahead to do your loan, do your verifications of employment, do your verification of income, all of that. Once we are in this process, okay, it's very important that you do everything the next day or the same day that we ask you for it to help us close on time.
Like we said, back to the same thing, we need you to do everything on a timely basis. Now, you're going to have a lot of questions about this process. Remember, all what you have to do is call to the numbers down below and we can help you. So, to the next time, we'll see
Don't
you.
forget to call us here with any questions next time.